Social Democrats councillor Mary Roche. Mary, when I say you held on until the last minute, but you did it.
See these fingernails here, Dymphna, they are worn down to the quick.
But you clung on with those fingernails.
Yeah.
I wouldn't doubt you, Mary.
Well, look, the voters in their wisdom have full and total control, and it's one of the really brilliant things about watching a process like this. Even though it's excruciatingly slow, it is excruciatingly accurate, and it's, you know, honest and open and transparent to the very last transfer. So, yep. And that's what we did. We waited for the very last transfer, the very last vote. The distribution of Jodie Power's votes got me over the line. It was kind of touch and go all day, to be honest.
And it really came down to yourself and Darren Ryan, really, at the end of the day. Was there any part of you, Mary, that was a little bit nervous this time around? Because obviously last time you had been an independent candidate and now you're Social Democrats. Does that change anything for you?
I haven't been on the ballot paper for 10 years.
Yep.
Like, don't forget, I didn't run the last time because Dad had died and Mum had dementia. So it was Matt Shanahan who actually ran, and then when he got elected, he co-opted me back into the seat. So yeah, there was, and like, the amount of, if I had a euro for every person who said to me today, you'd be home and hosed if you're an independent, you know.
Yeah.
But look, it's a decision I made. I looked at the parties. I'm very happy with the choice of the Social Democrats. I really think that their values align with mine very well. Now, that's not to say we won't, you know, you know, it's not a homogenous thing.
Yep.
But I'm very happy with them. And at the end of the day, the reason I did it is to try and move the concerns that I have about Waterford up the food chain and have them dealt with. Like, I'm always on about universities and hospitals and capital funding, and they literally are not issues that can be dealt with at a local level. So if you want to move them up, and I'd be happy as an independent, it's a really enjoyable place to be as a local councillor. I like it. I actually think it's very effective. I don't think at a local level there's anything that you can't do as an independent, but at a national level, it's a completely different thing, you know. Now, when I joined, it was Roisin Shortall and Catherine Murphy, and I really liked the fact that they had taken principled stands. Like, Roisin came out of a ministerial position on a matter of principle. I like that. I know it's not very popular in politics. I know it's not very profitable in politics in terms of you lose seats, and you know, people seem to think you should never change your mind. And I actually think changing your mind is a strength, because if none of us just, you know, if we all just dig into our corners, how are we ever going to develop and grow? So you know, it was a hard old slog. I think it probably made it a slightly little bit harder than if I was an independent.
Yeah.
But look, I'm here now, and whether you get the first seat or you get the last seat,
you got a seat.
It's all the same.
You absolutely got a seat. There must be a tremendous sense of relief, Mary.
Do you know, I'm kind of numb at this stage because all day it was so close. I mean, I went 5 votes behind at one stage.
Ladies and gentlemen, the following is the result of the 11th count of the Dungarvan local electoral area. This was the distribution of Pat Nugent's 7 votes, which distributed as follows. Monica Murphy, Fine Gael, +2, total 669. O'Riordan, Joe, non-party, +2, total 973. O'Donnell, Seamus, non-party, +1, total 675. Phelan, Thomas, Labour, +2, 1,151. Non-transferable papers, +0. No candidate has reached the quota on this count. As there is no surplus for distribution, I will now exclude the lowest candidate and distribute her 669 votes of Monica Murphy. The following is the result of the 12th count of the Waterford City South electoral area, which was the distribution of Sean Reinhardt, 599 votes. The distribution was as follows. Bailey Joanne, Sinn Féin, +56, total 1,039. Burke Kevin, Sinn Féin, +60, total votes 762. Quinlan Frank, Fine Gael, +55, 855. Ryan Seamus, Labour, +121, total 931. Non-transferable papers, 307. As there is one continuing candidate more than the number of seats left to be filled, I deem the following candidates to be elected without reaching the quota. Seamus Ryan. Frank Quinlan. Joanne Bailey. As all the seats in this electoral area have now been filled, I propose to formally declare the results of the election. Thank you.
Mary, we just heard it there. Joanne Bailey elected, Frank Quinlan elected, and Seamus Ryan elected. Any surprises there, do you think?
No, I'll tell you, actually, one of the big surprises is that 5 women have been elected, which is fantastic.
It is.
I think it's the first time we've had 5 women elected. I know we had, I think it was 6 on the last council, but most of them were co-options.
Yep.
So the fact that 5 women have now gotten elected is very, very positive. And hopefully it's something that will continue a trend, and that it's not just a blip.
Very much so, and you have a long history in politics, Mary, and it's very often the case where you are the only woman in the room, shouting sometimes into the abyss or into the void. It might feel like, what's it like to have female support, Mary? And I know we've spoken at length all day about this, about the male vote, the female vote, the male representation, the female representation. All councillors are councillors, full stop. You know what I mean? And you're elected based on your ability to do the job to the best.
Yeah.
But we need a balance.
Yeah, well, there is, people would say there's a women's vote. There's not. And if there is, it's so small that it's statistically insignificant. That's the honest to God truth about it, Dymphna. Like, I'd love to think that there was a women's vote, but there's not. Sorry. But look, we have 5, so it's more, I think, than we've ever had in terms of actually getting elected. So, baby steps. But until you have actual 50-50, you're still just playing the same old game. You're still a minority. For 10 years of the 25 years practically that I've been in, I was on my own as the only woman elected on the council. So you kind of go 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 1 step forward, 2 steps back. So hopefully this is a real good, solid step in the right direction.
And just before I leave you go, Mary, I know you have all of your family here supporting you today, driving you on, and I can only imagine the dips and curves and arcs of emotions that you must have felt over the last few weeks, not to mention the last couple of days.
Yeah.
Who's here to support you?
Well, I want to particularly thank my youngest daughter, Karen, who, despite being autistic, or maybe because she's autistic, was my number 1 canvasser, and she pushed herself beyond what she is comfortable doing, and she was out on the doorsteps the whole time. I can't leave out the other 2 troublemakers, my eldest Ailish and my son Killian, who both claim to be my favourite, but really it's Karen now this week. And they were out putting up posters, not willing to go on the doorsteps, but we'll whip them into action for the next time. Liam, of course, working all the time, but did his absolute best with the posters, and here much longer than I am now yesterday and today. I couldn't yesterday, I just kind of stay away until I see how things, so he took all of that, and my grandchildren were fantastic. Mia was out Irish dancing on the roads while we were sticking up posters, so you can't forget that as well. And Cahill is here. Cahill Quealy is the chairman of our branch here, the Soc Dems, and I want to thank him particularly. He put in a great effort, and Mark Kahn and everybody in the branch who voted, canvassed, and put in an effort. It's a team effort.
Of course it is. Social Democrats re-elected or elected councillor Mary Roche. Let's hear it for Mary.
What does relief sound like?
A little bit like that, I think, Mary. Mary, enjoy your time with your
Thanks,
family for the
Dimple.
next few
Thanks a
days.
million.
Thank you.